So back at home after having a great sleep, it's 7 a.m. Most of the time I wake up feeling like I did not want to get out of bed, but there was no other student could. I got up, I packed my lunch, and I did everything unless it was either something I somehow liked from the school menu. But there was the food in the school menu that used to stand out to me. Cheese pizza. A few years ago, cheese pizza was one of the best things you could get at school lunch. Almost every kid caught cheese pizza when it was on the menu. Now it tastes like glue. Last time I got cheese pizza, when I went to go take a bite, it was horrible. My friend, let's call him Eli, said, "Don't eat that, it tastes like glue." And he was absolutely right. That cold pizza was so damn horrible that I was on the verge of vomiting. I instantly regretted having that on my tray and instantly threw that tray away and said to myself, I will never eat cheese pizza from that school again. Anyway, I packed my lunch, do what I need to do, and head off to school. When I get to school, I find some of my classmates and friends who are now safety patrols. Ugh. I saw one guarding the hall and I saw one guarding the staircase. 5 minutes before school started, a bell rang that was for safety patrols to exit the posts. Shortly after the bell rang, I witnessed a ton of safety patrols just walking to the class, and then the teacher came. During the first 2 hours of class, everything was normal, so I would skip until 10 a.m. At 10 a.m., we were divided into rotations. Most times you have to get with a partner to do classwork. Some kid, let's call him Camille, is desperate for anybody to work with him. So I was like, anybody want to work with me? But we already have partners. Luckily, he eventually finds a partner, since we won't have to witness Camille crash the f*** out. Camille crashes out for, you can see, not very good reasons. When Camille crashes out, he always hits his head while crying with bulging eyes. He even cried like this once when he didn't get a perfect score on an assignment. Also, Camille always comes up to me and says, "Hey, do you want to know something interesting?" And I'm like, no! Not to mention he says I have a question instead of raising his hand. Before I move on to another student, I'll introduce you to Liam for some context. Liam is a silly and good friend of mine. Now let's move on. This is Lorenzo, and he has some problems. One of the reasons is he's extremely obsessed with Liam. When we have to find a partner for the assignments, Lorenzo immediately picks Liam as a partner, and he's been doing this for months. Lorenzo always sits next to Liam at lunch, and he's always next to Liam basically whenever he has a chance. Another reason is Lorenzo's pretty annoying. If you were ever working with him on an assignment, he will mostly be yapping instead of actually doing work with you. In general, if you were to sit next to him, he would repeat the same thing over and over again. And I mean, he will always reuse memes he found, and the same meme would go on for weeks. One time in reading class, Lorenzo was spoken to for yapping too much. Yet another reason, he easily crashes out, just like Camille. Now let's skip to lunch. There are some people that I don't want to sit next to at lunch. First is Jordan. She's one of those 3 yap girls of the class. Don't get me wrong, the other 2 yap girls are pretty chill when they're not in the same tough knuckles mode. But Jordan is not chill at all. I sat next to her one time and Jordan was like, "Go away." Imagine getting mad of a human existing right next to you, and the thing is, I never did anything to her. Some other people I don't want to sit next to is people who are yappy to be 24/7, including but not limited to Camille and sometimes Lorenzo. Also, we can't forget those people who try to steal from my lunchbox. Sometimes I avoid the people who beg for whatever I'm eating, but if I have a lot of it, then why not? One time at lunch, Lorenzo was doing the Goo Goo Gaga thing that was popular a month ago with the Pringles can wrapper. If you don't know what that is, you take a wrapper and distort it like origami to make it look like a 4-legged thingy and say Goo Goo Gaga. When Lorenzo did that with the Pringles can wrapper, it was all fun and games until Lorenzo would not stop saying Goo Goo Gaga and it started to become annoying. Anyways, there was evidence by me that my friends made a tradition of. The fact that I vomited at least once in the cafeteria every year. Usually it happens around the beginning of the new year. So during the time, my friends had hopes up that I would vomit today. Fortunately, I didn't. Let's move on to after lunch. After lunch, we go to either 6 classes. PE, Guidance, Media, Music, Arts, and Computers. Let's start with PE. At the start of every PE class, we have to do exercises and have to run a lap around the field. Then we either do activities with either Mr. Bressler or Mr. E. Our entire class was hoping that we go with Mr. Bressler, since he's a pretty chill guy, while Mr. E is basically the opposite. We play basketball, baseball, and once we even did a fitness grand pizza test, and that's PE. Now let's move on to Guidance. Guidance is probably the most boring class of them all. We had to be taught about handling emotions, New Year's resolutions, things that we all know by now. On to Media. Media is the most fun class of them all. First day was pretty fun. One time Liam and I were laughing to a Who Were the Beatles book with poorly drawn band members, and we laughed for minutes because we found other poorly drawn Who Was books. The media teacher actually planned a book scavenger hunter that day, and Lorenzo, the Liam obsessed kid, begs to join us as a partner, but Liam and I were already partners. The book we had to find was Who Was George Washington, but we couldn't find it, only the funny Who Was books. The second day is much more fun because it's a free choice day. One time one of the Yap girls in the class broke cups around the table. I was sneaky and stole some cups from her. So obviously the Yap girl told the media teacher, and the media teacher said, "Leave the Yap girl alone." What do you mean leave the Yap girl alone? She was on the public table. Of course somebody's gonna steal cups. Me and some other students planned to steal cups when the Yap girl wasn't looking. It was kind of successful, but that made the Yap girl chase us. So the two other Yap girls in the class defended her. Near the animated class, the Yap girl said, "Steal the cup. See what happens." So I obviously stole it because I was not afraid. I threw the cup back at her as a joke. Obviously the Yap girl snitched on me and I sat out. Also at the same day I witnessed a big magnet block tower collapse right in front of my eyes, and I saw the kid who helped build it chase the kid responsible for the collapse. After music class, music was a bit boring but fun at the same time. It was a bit boring when we were learning about instruments, which I already knew. But it was fun when we got to play the instruments, usually playing a song. Onto our class. Our class was pretty fun, but there were a few downsides. First, we had to talk about how the light goes off every now and then. Second, it is one of those classes where if you're absent, you miss out on a lot. Third, I have to hear one of the Yap girls talking loudly and begging the art teacher for things. But it's fair because every single one of us has to hear the same thing. I cannot think of any more reasons. Onto computers. Computers isn't what you think it is. It is not one of those cool tech-savvy classes that teach advanced stuff. Instead, we do things that are somewhat fun. It's kind of a fun and boring bullet. One time we had to design a cover for a Harry Potter book. Liam, the one with ideas, came up with Harry Potter Goes to Mexico. Meanwhile, I, the one without ideas, came up with Harry Potter and the Harry Potter and the Harry Potter. You get it. Another time, we watched the Peekaboo Kids ripoff about AI robots and them totally not taking over the world and such. But instead of bringing you all night love, it was replaced by a Mexican-looking Blues Birdini. What? So yeah, that's basically it for all the classes. Now let's jump into recess. Recess is so much mandatory, so I'll just tell you what happened at times. Remember when I was talking about Lorenzo and his distorted Pringles came up and saying "Goo Goo Gaga" 24/7? On the same day at recess, Liam turned that distorted Pringles came up into a human as a joke, and Lorenzo was genuinely pissed and started crashing out. How do you genuinely get pissed over a distorted Pringles came rapper? On the same day at recess, Lorenzo was making basketball shots, and I jokingly pulled my hand down in the hoop's net. So when Lorenzo made the shot, I passed it to another friend, and Lorenzo was very pissed too. Most people would laugh it off or ask the ball back, while Lorenzo was just mad, just pissed, just walking around like Baldy. Also on the same day, Lorenzo was making more basketball shots at recess. Behind the hoop, me, Liam, and two other friends were just talking to each other. Suddenly, Lorenzo misses a shot so badly that it bounces to us, and we were laughing so hard. Lorenzo was very pissed that we were laughing at his terrible fail, and he decides to throw his basketball into the other side of the court. And there were some other people playing basketball on the other side of the court, and we were laughing so hard again because Lorenzo technically just gave them a free ball. Oh, and I forgot to mention that when Lorenzo crashes out, he usually does an anime pose facing to a friend thinking he's the main character now. Aside from Lorenzo, most times when Liam and I are talking at recess, Camille comes up to us and says, "Hey, I have a challenge for you. I bet you cannot steal the ball." And he did that for so long that when Camille came with a basketball, we immediately knew what he was going to say. Usually, aside from Camille, we just run and hang out behind a tree that we dubbed Apple Park. Our other friends, including the easily pissed Lorenzo, also come over to Apple Park. Either that, or me and some friends just talk to each other. That's basically it for the average day of school. When recess ends, we go back to the classroom, then leave the classroom to go home. That's it.